Hello everyone. Hello everyone. I hope I am audible and visible to all of you. In case you are able to hear me, please confirm so that we can start with the lecture. A very good evening everyone. There was some issue with the voice, but now it is okay, I guess. Okay. And we'll be continuing with the very same thing. Am I audible clearly? Laser, a very good evening. Okay, just give me a moment. There is little disturbance because of which, okay, great. So everybody is here and you can hear me. That's wonderful. So let us continue with the thing. Okay. So current affairs, if we talk about the geography and ecology and environment, we have certain news items which are definitely important for your exam. We'll be looking at that. First, we'll start with one of the major events in geography, okay, that is Fujiwara effect related to the cyclones, which can definitely appear in prelims and mains both. So first we'll try and cover this effect, what exactly it is. Fujiwara effect. This is Fujiwara effect that we'll be discussing, okay. And Fujiwara effect, I hope that if you're scrolling through the newspapers, you are flipping through the pages, you must be aware of this thing, okay. And it is one of the rare events, a rare geographical phenomena which is not very common, okay. Sarvesh beta, Jai Hind, a very good evening. So Fujiwara effect we have to talk about, and if you have heard of some of the storms which were cyclonic in nature, okay, around China, Philippines, we have some major events, and one of the typhoons, Hinamon, okay, Hinamnor, was in news, and it is being considered as the deadliest and the ugliest typhoon of 2022. ठीक है, tropical cyclones की अगर हम बात करते हैं, if we talk about the tropical cyclones, this Hinamnor is the deadliest one, strongest typhoon of the year. Typhoon of the year, okay, and it is originated near Philippines, and it is still being tracked, the movement and all, okay. So Proteus, no Proteus, it is not necessary to draw flow diagrams in each and every question. The reason is very simple. The reason is quite simple, that if you draw flow diagrams in each and every question, then every question looks same again, that you are trying to escape. Instead, you have pie charts, histograms to represent some of the things, okay. You can also use maps, sketch maps, of course, So that is something that you can use. A very good evening, Janak. So, like I was talking about Fujiwara effect. Okay. So this is in news, the deadliest one, and now other is storm Gardo. Okay. Storm Gardo is also in news, and it is China, Taiwan. Okay. These two are nearby. Okay. So these two were nearby and they had certain interaction which led to the term that we are discussing, Fujiwara effect. When two cyclones, okay, originate in similar times, okay, they are originating in a similar time and nearby areas. If I talk about the nearby areas, it doesn't mean that it is only 5 kilometers away. Okay, if they are even approximately 1400 kilometers away, but their genesis is more or less same. Okay, they originate around the same time. The cyclones or typhoon originates around the same time. Okay, it means that they are existing in the ocean at the very point in time. They start influencing each other. Okay, they start influencing each other, and these influences together, the impact, the effect is called as Fujiwara effect. This is the Fujiwara effect. A very good evening, Asu beta. Okay, and this thing can appear in mains as well. Like I said, it is not only related to prelims. You can definitely find a direct question on Fujiwara effect, because these are rare phenomena. It is not happening every now and then. Okay, now they can be of same intensity, they can be of different intensity. कोई ज़्यादा dangerous हो सकता है, कोई कम हो सकता है. Like in this case, Gardo is not as dangerous as is Hinamnor. Okay, but they have influenced each other, and their influences can be categorized into 5 types. Okay, so this Fujiwara, the name is given by the individual who actually studied this thing. He belonged to Japan. He was Dr. Fujiwara. So we call it as Fujiwara effect. Okay. A very good evening, Vaishnavi beta. So Fujiwara effect we'll be talking about. So this interaction of two cyclones, when they are even in a range of 1400 kilometers, but existing at the same point in time, okay, we have certain effects. Okay, and there are listed 5 type of effects that are there. So we'll be talking about that. Okay, the first type of interaction between the two cyclones, okay, it is called as elastic interaction. Elastic interaction. Okay, and in this case both are existing in the ocean. Okay, and they influence the motion of each other. Okay, let us say that this storm was moving to this northeastern direction, and there is some other storm which is moving in the north direction. Okay, so in the elastic interaction, the direction, the motion changes. ठीक है, they'll not come close to each other, but strong winds are associated with them, swirling winds, okay, which are rotating. So at certain area the influence will be what? They'll strike each other, and because of that what will happen? Maybe it will start moving in the north direction if this one is more stronger, and it can move in the northwest direction, but they are not coming close to each other. एक दूसरे को जाके मिल जा रहे हैं, ऐसा नहीं हो रहा है. Okay, the other type is partial straining out. Okay, the other type of, here change in direction is only happening. Okay, change in the motion direction. Okay, due to this interaction. Okay, partial straining out. PSO, partial straining out, is the second type of interaction, the influence that they exert on each other. Okay. And in this, now whichever storm is weak, okay, if this storm is weak, then some part of it, some part of the energy, it will lose because of the strong winds coming from this one. Okay, so some part of the weaker storm is lost. Some part of the weaker storm is lost. ठीक है, so the stronger one is making the other one weaker. अगर ऐसा होता है, if this is the thing that is happening, we call it as partial straining out. A very good evening, Miraj. Good evening, Suraj beta. A very good evening. Okay, so everybody is clear till this point. At any point, if you'll find any confusion, you need to make sure that you're asking me again. Okay, now complete straining out. Okay, partial के बाद क्या है? The third one is complete straining out. Complete straining out. This is an influence where the mighty one, okay, the big one, completely sweeps the smaller one. Okay, this is damaged or lost. जो एनर्जी इसमें थी, इसकी एनर्जी इतनी ज्यादा है कि इसको उड़ाई देता है वो. ओके, तो वो रहती ही नहीं है. सो बेसिकली इन कंप्लीट स्ट्रेनिंग आउट, स्मॉलर स्टॉर्म is completely lost. Is completely lost. Okay, because of this influence. The fourth type of interaction, if we talk about, partial straining out, I defined what you did not understand. Some part of the weaker storm is lost. Some part of storm क्या होता है? A storm is what? If some of you are not even aware about the storm, it means that I'll have to get to more basic, but I thought that इतना basic पता होगा, but नहीं पता है, तो I'll explain. What is a tropical cyclone? It is a low pressure area. Okay, a low pressure area where this cyclone emerges, swirling winds emerge, and they are fed by what? They are fed by the energy given by the latent heat of evaporation, that we call as latent heat of evaporation. Okay, so this latent heat, the heat which is sustaining this cyclone, is swept away because of the other stronger cyclone. ठीक है, if two cyclones are nearby, then some part of it will, what will happen? Because the strong winds are coming towards it. And what is the thing? आपने कभी कपड़ा सुखाया? Have you ever tried to dry some cloth? If fast winds are moving, then what will happen? The evaporation process is more, but it drags away the moisture which was giving the energy to this one. So some part of is lost का मतलब this becomes weak. Okay. So Ankit, now you are clear? Okay. And if it sweeps away everything, then it is complete straining out. दूसरा वाला destroy ही हो जाता है. Okay. Now partial merger. Okay. Partial merger. So the name itself is sufficient to understand this. If there are two storms which are nearby in a sense, I said even 1400 kilometers, they start influencing each other. Okay, so some of the energy that it is having, while let us say it is moving in this direction, so there will be a interaction where some part of the energy, it traps the energy. Energy is from what? The moisture that is surrounding the whole area because of the storm. Okay, wind चल रही है तो ocean के ऊपर चल रही है, and when it is moving over the ocean, it means that a lot of warm moisture is available, which is helping these storms to continue. but some part of this moisture, when it is moving, it will attract towards itself. This becomes more stronger, and some part of the energy is have moved to the bigger storm, and it becomes a weak storm. Okay, this is partial merger. Okay, now complete merger. The two storms come so close to each other that they become one, and they are the deadliest, most violent. Okay, complete merger. Okay, the two cyclones, whole of the moisture generates a bigger system. Okay, both of them meet and it forms a cyclone, which we call as category 5, the deadliest cyclone, and which is happening at this point in time around Philippines and China. Okay, so you can get a question on this thing, but this can only happen. Okay, this is very rare thing. This can, the merger of the two cyclones is only possible if the two cyclones are of similar strength. Okay, similar origin to hai, they are equally powerful as well. Okay, if they are of similar strength, then chances are very high that both of them will merge and they'll form a bigger system which will become very destructive. Okay, so this is something that can come in your exam, and you have to make sure that you are going through it. Okay, and again these mesophotic corals are in news. Okay, the black corals, they are in news. Scientific community has discovered 5 more varieties of black corals. Okay, and coral reef, we already have covered news related to corals, so I expect that most of you are aware what the coral is. ठीक है, ऐसा कोई बच्चा है जिसे कोरल नहीं पता है कि what coral is, then maybe I can help you with this understanding as well. So corals are basically what? Small teeny polyps. Usually you study this definition, which can make colonies. Okay, and it can be of different types. So they create fringing reef, they create atolls and everything. Okay, and many a times barrier reef, and over centuries it can form islands. Okay, which is surrounded by the water from all sides. Okay, these things can come from small animals called as polyps. Okay, that is corals. Even when you read these things in the basic books, okay, for example, if you have read this thing in NCERT, it will always tell you that these are living in the areas where the sunlight can penetrate. Okay, mostly in the ocean where sunlight penetrates. Okay, so these are normal corals. Okay, those are more popular. We are talking about corals, so these are like this. But if we talk about black corals, okay, these corals are different. Okay, these are photic. ये जो क्या है photic है. Photic का means they require sunlight. But black corals and similar varieties, they come under mesophotic. Okay, they are not much dependent on sun. Much dependent on sun and photosynthesis. Okay, they have nothing to do with photosynthesis. The nature has created them in a way so that they can trap their food. Okay, directly they can eat from their mouths, though they cannot move. Okay, none of them can move. But these corals, the black corals, or other corals which come under the category of mesophotic, they are trapping this thing. It means that they are consumer type. Okay, these are consumers who can directly consume the thing, and they are producer variety. Okay, they produce the energy and then indirectly get the energy. They directly eat their own food. Okay, so you need to know about these. And why they are important? Because they are sustaining themselves in such kind of areas where the light cannot reach. So two things are very important about them. ठीक है, लाइट नहीं पहुंचती है, वहां भी रह रहे हैं. The first thing is that it is the key to coral survival. Okay, because you always read in the newspapers that Great Barrier Reef is threatened or corals are threatened. Okay, but if we know certain varieties are there which will not get much affected by climate change. Why? Because these are the varieties, they already have survived. They already have survived 4 mass extinctions. Okay, and this is the time when we are talking about the mass extinctions, because global warming is happening. Okay, so even if the temperature of the world increases, the temperature of the water of the ocean increases, they won't die that easily. ये बहुत आसानी से खत्म नहीं होने वाले हैं. Okay, क्योंकि already 4 mass extinctions देख चुके हैं. So there is some positive thing. ठीक है, सब कुछ खत्म हो जाएगा वाली जो बात हो रही है, इनको देख के ये कहा जा सकता है कि नहीं है. Plus they are the places where the fish varieties and weaker varieties of animals, okay, in the sea hide in order to protect themselves. अपने आप को बचाने के लिए यहां जाके छुपते हैं वो, वहां लाइट नहीं होती है. They get shelter, they can survive there. Okay, so it acts as shelter for fish, etc., from predators. Okay, from predators. Now these black corals, very limited varieties of them have been discovered till date. It was believed that there were only 300 varieties of these corals. Okay, unlike others, तो बहुत कम areas है जहां ये मिलते हैं. Okay, but 5 more have been discovered. Okay, so as we explore the oceans more, we are finding some of the things which are going to exist even if the global warming is happening at the faster rate, if humans fail to check this global warming. Okay, so they can be as deep as 760 meters. Some of the varieties have been found. ठीक है, 760 मीटर बहुत होता है, तो वहां तक भी ये मिले हैं. And for this reason this is in news. And sometimes this one of the varieties, okay, at an average क्या है, at an average 760 meters below the surface of ocean. Okay, below the surface of ocean. But some of them have been found in the trenches as well. Okay, the deepest one is 8,000 meters. Okay, below this thing. तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि there is always a possibility of survival in the long run. ठीक है, लॉन्ग रन में सर्वाइवल आपका होगा ही होगा. Okay, so this is an important news item from this perspective. Now we'll talk about other news items, some of the places which are in news, and of course places के बारे में बहुत बार पूछा जाता है. Okay, So everybody is clear with this set list, right? ये समझ में आया what is mesophotic, what is black coral, okay? So around Great Barrier Reef they have found 5 more, okay? I hope everybody is getting these things. Now Kangar Valley National Park is in news. Okay, now smaller news items. Kangar Valley National Park. Like few weeks ago only, we had discussed that there is a bird census going on. Okay, Bombay Natural History Society कर रही है, ऐसा न्यूज याद आ रहा है. We had discussed in the previous lectures. Okay, if you remember, we talked about this thing. So the first ever bird survey, okay, for Chhattisgarh also happened. जैसे नागालैंड का हमने लास्ट टाइम पढ़ा था, तो अभी छत्तीसगढ़ ने भी किया है, तो ये छत्तीसगढ़ में, ओके. एंड व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, फर्स्ट एवर इंटर स्टेट bird survey, okay. And I don't know how they are only finding 200 birds in every sanctuary, but this is a again, very good Proteus beta, very good, you remember that, okay. Now again in this survey they found 200 varieties like before, ठीक है. पहले भी 200 मिले थे, फिर से यहां भी 200 मिले हैं, but that is not that important, okay. Something related to this, whatever we covered in the last lecture was more than sufficient to give the answer, okay. Now this is important because the state bird of Chhattisgarh is also found here, जिसका नाम है बस्तर हिल मैना, okay. बस्तर हिल मैना, state bird of Chhattisgarh. This is also not that important until and unless some of you are planning to appear for Chhattisgarh, ठीक है. ये भी इंफॉर्मेशन उतनी इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, बट व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट कि वेयर इट इज. कांगेर वैली नेशनल पार्क क्या है, कांगेर क्या है. कांगेर इज ए स्मॉल रिवुलेट, ओके. दिस इज ए रिवुलेट और रिवर that passes through this national park, okay. And this is, if location to Bastar district में है, so if you try to make the map of India, okay, so this is something like this. Here you have Bastar और इसी में क्या है, छत्तीसगढ़, बस्तर और इसी में कांगेर वैली है, okay. So the location is important. यहां पे उड़ीसा है, ओके, बगल में. सो दिस इज समथिंग दैट कैन अपीयर इन द न्यूज. रेस्ट इट इज लोकेटेड हियर. तो यहां पे क्या होगा, फॉरेस्ट टाइप, ऑफ कोर्स. दिस इज गोइंग टू बी डेसिडुअस टाइप. इंडिया में मॉनसून टाइप जिसे कहते हैं मोस्टली वही मिलता है. सो यहां पे होगा. बट वन मोर थिंग इज इंपॉर्टेंट अबाउट इट बियॉन्ड दिस, ओके. दिस इज वन ऑफ दोज रीजन्स ऑफ इंडिया where you find the Caste Landforms, okay. This is also famous for the Caste Landforms, okay. Like we have Caste Landforms in Meghalaya, वैसे ही कांगेर वैली नेशनल पार्क में भी है आपका क्या है, स्टेलेक्साइट, स्टेलेग्माइट्स, okay, underground caves, okay. Etc. So limestone structures, okay, limestone structure are found in these regions, okay. This is an important piece of information. You need to know this because they'll ask a question on Kangar Valley National Park. They'll say that this is in Bastar Hill, first ever interstate bird sanctuary. Chances are less. They'll ask about the location and they'll add a point. Ki here we found Caste Landforms. And normally the books that you read, they don't mention it. तो आपको लगेगा ये गलत ही है, छत्तीसगढ़ में कहां से लाइमस्टोन आ गया, बट दैट इज देयर. ओके, सो दिस इज one of the most important aspects about this topic that you need to remember. Okay, and here we have waterfalls and everything. अभी ये क्या है कि कास्ट लैंडफॉर्म है तो वीक एरिया है, some of the smaller waterfalls, so scenic beauty is much. Okay, tourism के लिए यहाँ लोग जाते हैं. Okay, now the other one, Lake Nani is in news. ये कहां पे है? नैनी लेक कहां पे है? ओके, लेक नैनी, किसी को पता है? हैव यू हर्ड ऑफ इट? आसू, प्रत्युष, अंकित, अनिकेत, मिराज, वैष्णवी, how many of you are aware where it is? Okay, in the state of Uttarakhand. Okay, the area bordering UP. Okay, it is there. हाँ, नैनीताल में है. ठीक है, लेक नैनी इज इन नैनीताल. ठीक है, वेरी गुड आकांक्षा, सर्वेश, ग्रेट. ओके, सो दिस इज इन उत्तराखंड. अब उत्तराखंड में है एंड लेक नैनी इज in news because the other lake which feeds it, okay, is facing danger because of some of the steps taken by the government only, and the High Court has asked the Uttarakhand government to reconsider their plans. Okay, उनका plan है कि the lake which gives almost 40 to 50% of the water to Lake Nani must be saved and shouldn't be tampered with. ठीक है, उनको मना किया है. The Uttarakhand government, okay, is changing the surface of the Sukha Tal. Okay, Tal is for lake, Sukha is dry. Okay, and this dry lake is source of water for Lake Nani, 40 to 50% of the water. अब सूखा क्यों कहते हैं हम इसे? Because it is a seasonal lake. Okay, mostly dry, but for few months during the monsoons, it has enough water. It gets filled up, and then the water is connected with the Lake Nani, okay, which is again divided into two parts. कभी आप लोग नैनीताल गए होंगे तो आपने देखा होगा. ओके, हाँ, द कॉन्क्रीट बेस की बात हो रही है, बट नाउ द गवर्नमेंट हैज क्लैरिफाइड कि वी आर नॉट मेकिंग इट कंप्लीटली कॉन्क्रीट. ओके, टू सेव द वाटर द प्लान वाज टू कंप्लीटली कॉन्क्रीटाइज द सरफेस. Concretization of the surface to stop the seepage. Okay, but why it is problematic? But no groundwater recharge will be there. अभी आप इस पानी को रोकना क्यों चाहते हैं कि ग्राउंड में ना जाए, और ग्राउंड में अगर ये नहीं जाएगा तो ग्राउंड वाटर रिचार्ज ही नहीं होगा. ओके, so environmental problems will be there. So this is in news. तो ये सूखा ताल कहाँ है ये पूछा जा सकता है. Where it is, what type of lake it is a seasonal lake. Okay, now नैनी लेक की अगर हम बात करते हैं, so this is one of the most beautiful lakes which is surrounded by, we are talking about this one, 7 hills. The names of the hills are not important, though you will find all the names in all the magazines and newspapers. Don't try to mug up that. ठीक है, उसका कोई फायदा नहीं है कि 7 हिल का नाम याद कर लिया, उसका कोई मतलब नहीं है. ठीक है, तो you just need to know कि these are like 7 hills are there, and it is divided into two. Okay, loosely connected lake Nani जो है वो 2 लेक को मिला के है. Okay, 7 hills and 2 lakes, Mallital and Tallital. The northern part is called as Mallital and the southern one is Tallital. ठीक है, तो ये नाम पूछे जा सकते हैं, which part is called what. So in this diagram only it is pretty much visible that the northern part is Mallital, southern one is Tallital. Okay, so everybody is clear with this. Some more related information of course you will get in the PDF that I'll provide you. Okay, and there is something, some good news also. ठीक है, population की दृष्टि से अगर हम देखते हैं तो there are certain things which are good about this week's news item. Okay, the items that we are covering. The maternal mortality rate in India has improved. Okay, we are closing into the target. Maternal mortality rate. Okay, so what is maternal mortality rate? It is the rate which considers how many women die while giving birth. Okay, and unlike other calculations which are on per thousand, it is on per lakh live births. ठीक है, इसमें क्या हम चेक करते हैं, how many deaths are happening per lakh. Okay, deaths per lakh of basically women while giving birth. ठीक है, कितनी औरतों का डेथ होता है. एंड इट वॉज रियली बैड फॉर इंडिया. वी हैड ए टारगेट ऑफ 70 per lakh births. ओके, दिस वॉज सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल में भी हमारा प्लान था जो बाय 2030 हमें अचीव करना है. ओके, बट इफ यू टॉक अबाउट 2016-17 द पीरियड, दिस वॉज अराउंड 130. ओके, 130 के अराउंड हमारा था. बट नाउ वी हैव अ गुड न्यूज दैट इफ वी कंसिडर द टाइम पीरियड, ओके, विच इज मोर क्लोजर, दैट इज 19 to 21. ठीक है, 19 से 21 में it is only 97. Okay, it means that there is greater success and will be able to achieve this goal with ease without any problems. Okay, हमने जो टारगेट किया हुआ है वो हम अचीव कर पाएंगे. That is good about this one. Okay, and this is happening because the government says that the institutional births have increased in the country. Why we have achieved this thing? Because the institutional births have increased in the country. What do you understand by institutional births? इससे आप क्या समझते हैं institutional birth? What do you understand by institutional birth? ये टर्म आपने बहुत बार पढ़ा होगा. इसका क्या मतलब है? It means that people are seeking help of the experts. Okay, घर पे जो डिलीवर करते हैं बिना किसी से पूछे हुए, कुछ नहीं, ट्रेडिशनल वेज. ठीक है, तो उसमें बहुत सारे डेथ हो जाते थे. बट ऑलमोस्ट मोर देन 88% ऑफ द पीपल टुडे आर टेकिंग हेल्प ऑफ द एक्सपर्ट प्रोफेशनल्स. ओके, सो इंस्टीट्यूशनल बर्थ्स में इंक्रीज होने की वजह से ये चीज हो पाया है. नाउ, and this was such a great success that the Registrar General of India, okay, the Registrar General of India, okay, he gave the special bulletin on maternal mortality rate, okay, through a special bulletin which was not due. But when the report came, they gave it to the media about this success that India has seen. But problem क्या है? the deaths are many a times associated with those women who are anemic. Okay, anemia is the biggest cause. This is the biggest killer. Anemia is the biggest killer and it remains so. Okay, क्योंकि institutional help लेने से लोग बच जा रहे हैं, but anemia is still a problem because 53.1, more than 50% of the women are still anemic. इसमें बहुत ज्यादा रिडक्शन नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है. दिस फिगर वाज ऑन सेम पीरियड को कंपेयर करें तो 57 और 53 था, ये अभी का है. नाउ ओके, एनेमिक वुमेन की बात हो रही है. सो दिस इज नॉट ए बिग अचीवमेंट. सो इंडिया नीड्स टू डू अ लॉट मोर इन ऑर्डर टू सेव द मदर्स. ठीक है, जो बच्चों को जन्म दे रही है उनको बचाने के लिए इंडिया को और ज्यादा मेहनत करने की जरूरत है. ओके, नाउ देयर इज वन मोर टर्म रिलेटेड टू एस्ट्रोनॉमी, गैलेक्टिक कैनिबलिज्म. ठीक है, विल टॉक अबाउट दैट. हाँ मिराज बेटा, हॉस्पिटल्स और इंस्टीट्यूशन और एटलीस्ट देयर सम डायरेक्ट हेल्प दैट इज बीइंग सीक्ड फ्रॉम द प्रोफेशनल्स. ठीक है, इंस्टीट्यूशनल वो हुआ. नाउ द गैलेक्टिक कैनिबलिज्म क्या हो सकता है? ये कैनिबलिज्म क्या है, गैलेक्टिक क्या है? ओके, जो इसका मतलब आप सोच सकते हैं वही है ये न्यूज. ओके, बट द थिंग इज द नियरेस्ट गैलेक्सी ऑफ आर्स. ओके, हमारा गैलेक्सी क्या है? आकाश गंगा और मिल्की वे. ओके, और आकाश गंगा. दिस इज वी, ए स्पाइरल गैलेक्सी. ठीक है, वी आर ए स्पाइरल गैलेक्सी. ओके, एट द सेंटर वी हैव Sagittarius a black hole. Okay, and something like spiral like structure. यहां पे क्या है? सारे स्टार हैं. These are all stars. So this is a spiral galaxy. तो galaxy Milky Way is a spiral galaxy. Cannibalism is simply eating its own kind. Okay, so the nearest galaxy to us, this is also a spiral galaxy. It is called as Andromeda or Messier. दूसरा नाम इसका Messier है, Messier 131. Okay, so this Andromeda has a certain group of stars. Okay, these stars move different when compared with. Okay, these का मतलब एक group of stars, a group in this cluster when compared with other stars in the same galaxy. ठीक है, इसी गैलेक्सी में बाकी सबसे अलग है. ये कब होता है? when one galaxy eats away another galaxy. ठीक है, उसमें से कुछ तारे क्या है, इसके पार्ट हो गए, उसको उसने पूरा डिस्ट्रॉय कर दिया. one galaxy destroys another galaxy, but some of it comes under, some of the stars comes under the gravitational influence of the black hole which controls the whole galaxy. Okay, तो एंड्रोमेडा में एक ऐसा ग्रुप मिला है जो कि प्रूव करता है कि दिस एंड्रोमेडा गैलेक्सी हैज बीन थ्रू ए गैलेक्टिक कैनिबलिज्म विच वेयर इट डिस्ट्रॉयड द अदर वन. ठीक है, दूसरे गैलेक्सी को इसने पास्ट में डिस्ट्रॉय किया था. एंड द अदर नेम, लाइक आई सेड, they can ask this name as well, Messier 31 or Andromeda. So remember both the names. So everybody is clear with the this galactic cannibalism, one galaxy destroying another galaxy. Okay, and it is around 2.5 million light years away, बहुत ज़्यादा दूर है but nearest है. इसके बाद कोई और गैलेक्सी आती है. Okay, now we'll talk about one important report that World Meteorological Organization has released. Okay, WMO released its first state of global water resource. ठीक है, first है तो important है. And other thing is that Miraj, what you are asking, ask full question. What should I understand in cluster? What kind of question is that? Ask the full question beta. In cluster का मतलब मैं क्या समझूं? Are you asking what is the meaning of cluster? What is your question? थोड़ा सवाल सीधा पूछेंगे. Okay? Confuse नहीं करेंगे, खुद भी नहीं होंगे. Okay? What is your question? Type it again. World Meteorological Organization. World Meteorological Organization, WMO. Okay, it has released a report related to the water resources and which is relevant for India. So you can definitely. मिराज क्लस्टर में क्या है? फ्यू स्टार्स आर लेफ्ट. गैलेक्सी इज क्लस्टर. गैलेक्सी वर्ड नहीं जानते हैं आप? गैलेक्सी इज व्हाट? बिलियंस ऑफ स्टार्स मेक ए गैलेक्सी. ओके, आवर सोलर सिस्टम इज स्मॉल पार्ट ऑफ दिस गैलेक्सी. इसके जो आर्म है इसी में सोलर सिस्टम है. ओके, सो लाइक दिस सोलर सिस्टम, आवर सन, इट इज एवरीथिंग इज रोटेटिंग. हर चीज रोटेट कर रही है, ये भी रोटेट कर रहा है, आपस में अपने भी घूम रहा है, पूरा सिस्टम भी घूम रहा है. दैट इज दिस. ओके, सो मोस्ट ऑफ देम, जो अगर हम अपने गैलेक्सी को, मिल्की वे को देखते हैं, दे बिहेव इन अ सिमिलर मैनर. बट हियर दिस क्लस्टर, द ग्रुप ऑफ स्टार्स, ठीक है, एक सोलर सिस्टम टाइप का से ज्यादा ग्रुप ऑफ स्टार्स, मतलब मेनी सोलर सिस्टम्स कैन बी देयर. बिलियन सोलर सिस्टम्स आर देयर इन वन गैलेक्सी. एवरी गैलेक्सी हैज, every star has some system around it. So billions of them में से कुछ, a small group is behaving differently. That's it. लेजर बेटा, इसके लिए साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी बहुत आगे बढ़ चुकी है. टेलीस्कोप से देखते हैं, बहुत सारा है. ठीक है, तो उसमें हमें डीप नहीं जाना है, वो आपके काम की चीज नहीं है. शौक के लिए करना अलग बात है, बट इट इज नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट हाउ यू ट्रैक ए गैलेक्सी. ओके, नासा इज डूइंग इट. ISRO has explored European Space Agency and Chinese agency, of course. Everyone is trying this thing. Okay, but the details ain't are required for this exam. शोध का विषय है वो. Okay, beyond what we require. Okay, now first state of global water resources. First report on state of global water resources. (2021). अभी ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, फर्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट है. ओके, एंड WMO plans to release this report annually. ठीक है, एनुअल रिपोर्ट होगी, ये अगले साल भी आएगी, बट इन 23 you'll receive the report which is of 2022. okay, तो एक साल डिलेड है बिकॉज वाटर सर्वे में टाइम लगता है वर्ल्ड में. ओके, हाँ मिराज बेटा, यू हैव अंडरस्टूड नाउ. ओके, नाउ वर्ल्ड मेट्रोलॉजिकल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, द हेडक्वार्टर इज इन जनेवा. ठीक है, जनेवा बेस्ड है ये. ओके, but that is not important. The important thing is that it has released the first report and some of the findings that it has. Okay, और इस रिपोर्ट में क्या है? They are assessing the effect of climate, environment and societal change on water. क्या assess किया है इन्होंने? Assessed the impact of climate, environment, and societal setup on water resources around the world. On water resources. ठीक है, this is the thing that they have tried to find out through this report. इस रिपोर्ट में यही खोजने की कोशिश की है उन्होंने. Okay. Okay. Now if we talk about this report, it focuses on 3 major areas. ठीक है, assess तो ये इन्होंने किया है, but if the type of water that is available, okay, so 3 major study areas. ठीक है, the first one is stream flow, that is in the rivers. जो पानी बह रहा है नदियों में, उसके साथ क्या हो रहा है, उस रिसोर्स पे क्या इंपैक्ट है. ओके, द वॉल्यूम ऑफ वाटर इन रिवर्स. In rivers. Okay, the second aspect they have looked into is terrestrial water storage, यानी surface flow की बात कर रहे हैं. Okay, terrestrial water storage. Okay, in mains you can use these reports to back some of the arguments that you give, the problem areas, to highlight the problem areas. In prelims ये 3 चीजें क्या है ये पूछ लेंगे वो. ओके, एंड ऑल द वाटर ऑन द लैंड सरफेस एंड इज सब सरफेस एज वेल. सरफेस फ्लो प्लस वाटर ऑन सरफेस एंड सब सरफेस, अंडरग्राउंड वाटर. ओके, एंड द थर्ड वन इज दैट इज ट्रैप्ड इन द कोल्डर एरियाज, आइस में जो ट्रैप्ड है, द क्रायोस्फीयर. That is the frozen water. Okay, so they studied and they have given some of the analysis based on country. तो इंडिया के लिए जो इन्होंने बोला है that is important for us. Okay, so for ब्रह्मपुत्र गंगा एंड इंडस सिस्टम, ठीक है, मेजर वाले में इन्होंने बात की है ब्रह्मपुत्र गंगा एंड इंडस सिस्टम के. ब्रह्मपुत्र गंगा and Indus system. Okay, some of these points will be seeing and they are going to appear in exam. ठीक है, इसी में से कुछ पूछा जाएगा कि क्या है. So इनका मानना यह है कि the terrestrial water storage that was there because of these rivers on the surface, okay, terrestrial water storage TWS has declined for all of them. TWS declined for all of them. Now they are not in a position to contribute to the surface water. ठीक है, there was lot of catchment area is actually converted into land for other use. तो वहां पे ये क्या है कि रिचार्ज करने का काम, जो फ्लडिंग इवेंट्स होते थे, ओके, जो रिचार्ज हो पाता था, वो आज की डेट पे नहीं हो पा रहा है. ओके, द सेकेंड थिंग दैट दे फाउंड दैट this the flow in the rivers have actually increased. The volume of water in the rivers have increased. Okay, now why this volume has increased? Because of the glacial melt. Okay, the global warming, now we are seeing that the glaciers are melting faster, so they are releasing more water in this. ठीक है, ज्यादा पानी आज की डेट में क्या है, इनसे जा रहा है जो कि सीधे सीज में पहुंच जा रहा है. ओके, दैट इज डायरेक्टली रीचिंग टू आइदर द अरेबियन सी थ्रू द इंडस सिस्टम or to the Bay of Bengal through Brahmaputra and Ganga system. So we are losing most of the water. We are not finding enough areas for this TWS. Okay. Now, this is something that you need to remember. Total water storage has declined. Overall में भी अगर हम देखते हैं, so total water storage declined for 2021. ठीक है, ईयर स्पेसिफिक भी देखते हैं तो ये कमी है. Overall decline, yearly decline plus failed to recharge. So this is something you have to follow. Now हवाई के बारे में हमने बात की थी, if you remember, and more recently Mauna Loa. हवाई कहाँ पे है, मैंने डायग्राम में भी दिखाया था आपको. This is North America and along this around in the Pacific, this is Hawaii. Okay, and this is not a single island, it is made up of group of volcanic islands. याद आ रहा है? If you had attended this thing, Kohala, Mauna Loa and everything I had drawn. Okay, this is like Kohala and Mauna Loa, that is important. This is the thing that we are interested in. Okay, जो लोग पहली बार हैं उनके लिए मैं पूरा ही बना देता हूं. दिस इज माउना किया. Kilauea. Okay, so something like that. This is the biggest amongst them. सबसे बड़ा वॉल्केनो क्या है? Mauna Loa है, and it has erupted after 38 years. So volcanism, you can have a question in mains. In the last discussion when I talked about this thing, I had talked about how, what type of lava flows out of this and everything. Things like that I have discussed as far as I can remember. So will not be wasting a lot of time on it. Okay. Now sites के ऊपर भी हमने बात किया था. ठीक है, पनामा में एक कन्वेंशन हुआ था कोप 19 में, अपेंडिक्स 2 में, अपेंडिक्स 4 में कुछ कुछ चीजों को डालने के लिए इंडिया अपील कर रही थी. सो अगेन इट इज इन न्यूज. ओके, सो देयर इज साइट्स बिग कैट टास्क फोर्स विच वाज फॉर्म्ड. ओके, साइट्स बिग कैट टास्क फोर्स. Okay, so the convention to protect the animals. Okay, site scope 19 we talked about, पनामा में हो रहा था. तो ये इसी में क्या है? साइट्स बिग कैट. बिग कैट इज लाइक लायन, टाइगर, चीता, ऑल दीज फैमिली, द कैट फैमिली विच आर बिग आर कॉल्ड एज बिग कैट्स. ठीक है, तो उसी के नाम पे ये दिया गया है. सो हियर a proposal has been made for funding this. ठीक है, basically यहाँ क्या है? Funding and protection is the focus and how they will be doing is the focus. So this big cat task force has been entrusted with a tentative budget of around $1,50,000. $1,50,000, which will be in the form of external funding from the USA. Okay, that is external funding from USA. These are the key words that you need to remember. What it is external funding from the USA. Okay, इतना फंड इसको मिलने वाला है. The values of course are like you need to go through it and it is easy as well. ठीक है, अब इसके बारे में हमें बात करना है. सो बिग कैट टास्क फोर्स जो है, दे विल बी फोकसिंग ऑन ऑल द एस्पेक्ट्स लाइक हाउ दीज आर बीइंग ट्रेडेड इलीगली. ठीक है, इनके क्या है कि इलीगल ट्रेडिंग इज देयर फॉर देम. सो बिग कैट्स के इलीगल ट्रेड को क्या है, रोकना एक इनका मेजर टास्क है. Okay, this is the thing that they'll be doing. Okay, this is the primary thing that they are interested with, but certain functions have been allotted to them. Illegal trade को रोकने के लिए क्या क्या functions है? Using these funds, what they'll be doing? Okay, functions of the task force. This is important. Functions of the task force. The very first function is to enforce and implement the issues related to illegal trade. Okay, enforce and implement whatever laws wherever exist. Implement the issues, laws related to illegal trade. ठीक है, what are the functions of the task force? ऐसा डायरेक्टली आपको क्वेश्चन आ सकता है, and this news item is more related to prelims only. Okay, now the other thing that this task force has to do, exchange information. Okay, because the task force है तो आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि all the countries, okay, which are having these big cats are party to it. जहां भी क्या है कि lion, tiger, cheetah and some of these are there, they are party to it. So they have to exchange the information about the illegal trade, about the good practices. वैसी चीजें सारा ये exchange करने वाले हैं. Okay, they have to share the techniques. Okay, to protect and preserve the big cats. Okay, some of the nations are really doing well. They have protected almost whole of the population and the numbers have increased as well. Okay, उसका नंबर भी बढ़ गया है. Like India only, if you look at tiger इतना बढ़ गया है कि लोगों को खतरा हो गया है. Okay, go to घाट चिरोली in Maharashtra, लोग घर में छुपे हुए हैं, 4 बजे भाग जा रहे हैं और टाइगर मजे में घूम रहे हैं. ठीक है, इतना पॉपुलेशन बढ़ गया है इंडिया में. ओके, तो वी कैन डेफिनेटली टेल वर्ल्ड कि हमने क्या किया, ऐसा किया जिससे ये हो गया है. ओके, नाउ नॉलेज गैप तो है ही, प्रोटेक्ट एंड प्रिजर्व, प्लस दे ऑल्सो हैव सर्टेन टेक्निक्स बाय विच दे स्टॉप द इलीगल ट्रेड. हाउ टू स्टॉप द इलीगल ट्रेड? ओके, ये भी इसी का, द टेक्निक्स टू स्टॉप दिस इलीगल ट्रेड इट इज पार्ट ऑफ, एंड प्लस डेवलप स्ट्रेटजी एंड रेकमेंड टू एवरीवन एल्स इफ समथिंग वर्क्स. ओके, डेवलप स्ट्रेटजी and provide recommendations. This is also the function. ठीक है, ये भी इनको करना है. So these are the things. Now big cats में फोकस किस पे होंगे? Some of the species are focus area, species to be focused. अब स्पीसीज जो फोकस किए जाने वाले हैं, ठीक है, इसमें आपको समझना है कि लायन नहीं है. द फोकस स्पीसीज इज नॉट लायन. ओके, सो यू नीड टू मेक श्योर दैट यू रिमेंबर दिस थिंग. लायन आ गया तो बिग कैट है तो कुछ सारे होंगे ये सोच के मार्क नहीं करेंगे. ओके, सो चीता, क्लाउडेड लियोपार्ड, ओके, tiger, snow leopard, ओके चीता है, दो लियोपार्ड वेराइटीज है आपकी, ओके जागुआर, ओके एंड इन द इनिशियल लिस्ट ओनली दीज वेर देयर, ओके बट मोर रिसेंटली, ओके lion has been included on the insistence of some of the lion, the countries which have lion. So lately lion has been added, but in the original proposal it was not there, okay lion was not there. Jaguar, snow leopard, tiger, clouded, cheetah, okay so this thing, the reference is old, इसमें lion नहीं दिया हुआ था तो मैंने वो नहीं बताया, but I remember that I have read somewhere more recently while I was going through some of the news items, it has been added, okay so you remember these names. बाकी किसी का भी आ जाता है तो वो नहीं होंगे, okay so everybody ये लिस्ट याद रखेंगे, okay now carbon capture, utilization and storage, this is a new concept that the government of India, especially through Niti Aayog, we are pushing for it, ठीक है carbon capture, utilization and storage, carbon capture, utilization and storage. Carbon capture, utilization and storage, we'll talk about it. Now CCUS, this is something which is being pushed by Niti Aayog, ठीक है this is something new, so definitely you can see a definition type of question, okay usually जो आप पढ़ते हैं आप कार्बन कैप्चर एंड स्टोरेज पढ़ते हैं, this is more common, carbon capture and storage, this is the more popular term that you know, CCS is more popular. This is something that Niti Aayog has made a policy framework, okay Niti Aayog policy framework, on this has been recently introduced. नीति आयोग कुछ करती है तो वो अपने आप इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है, okay you have to make sure that you are going through these things. ये हाई प्रायोरिटी टॉपिक्स हैं, ठीक है बिकॉज इट इज द एजेंडा ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट, नीति आयोग का कहना है तो ये बहुत काम का है, ठीक है एंड दिस रिपोर्ट that they have framed the policy framework, it states that it will CCU will play an important role by 2050 in controlling CO2 capture targets. ठीक है जो भी इंडिया करने वाली है 2050 तक, वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू बी डिपेंडेंट ऑन दिस थिंग, इंस्टेड वी आर पिनिंग आवर होप्स ऑन CCUS. ओके ऐसा हम क्यों कर रहे हैं? बिकॉज दिस टेक्निक सिंपली फोकसेस ऑन वेज टू कैप्चर द कार्बन, CO2 जहां रिलीज हो रहा है उसको कहीं पे स्टोर कर देना. ओके ओनली स्टोरेज इज द फोकस. स्टोरेज का मतलब क्या है? देयर इज ऑलवेज ए पॉसिबिलिटी दैट इन फ्यूचर बिकॉज ऑफ सम मिसहैप, some problems, this can leak out to the atmosphere and the same condition will come back. तो ये एक रिस्की चीज है. बहुत बार क्या करते हैं, वी आर ट्राइंग टू ट्रैप द कार्बन और अदर सोर्सेज ऑफ ग्रीन हाउस गैसेज इनटू द ग्राउंड. ठीक है, सीधे जमीन में धसा दिया, एल्गे का यूज किया, कैसे भी उसे कहीं पे रोक के रखने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. बट द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ लीकेज इज ऑलवेज देयर. बट दिस CCUS, it is going to focus on reutilization of the carbon that is captured to make maybe कॉन्क्रीट, बायोफ्यूल और प्लास्टिक्स। हम कार्बन जो कैप्चर है, कैप्चर्ड कार्बन, ओके, द प्लास्टिक इज मेड अप ऑफ कार्बन, तो इसको प्लास्टिक बना सकते हैं, ठीक है। नाउ प्लास्टिक इज ऑल्सो बैड, बट कार्बन की तरह एटमॉस्फेयर में चला गया और गर्मी कर दी, ये प्लास्टिक नहीं कर सकता है। कॉन्क्रीट एंड बायोफ्यूल कन्वर्जन की कोशिश भी गवर्नमेंट करेगी इसके थ्रू, ओके। सो दिस इज यूटिलाइजेशन ऑफ कैप्चर्ड कार्बन, इस पे फोकस होगा गवर्नमेंट का। सो यू कैन बी वेरी एश्योर्ड देयर आर लॉट ऑफ मोर थिंग्स रिलेटेड टू दिस विल कम इन न्यूज, ठीक है। नई टेक्नोलॉजी, नई चीजें जो गवर्नमेंट इसके अंदर करेगी, तो ये दोबारा आने वाला है, ओके, तो इसको फॉलो करेंगे। नाउ अदर थिंग विच इज इन न्यूज इज ट्राइबल डेवलपमेंट रिपोर्ट 2022। ट्राइबल डेवलपमेंट रिपोर्ट 2022। अगेन दिस इज फर्स्ट ऑफ इट्स काइंड। जहां भी ऐसा लिखा रहे तो ये अपने आप इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाते हैं, ओके। फर्स्ट ऑफ इट्स काइंड, द गवर्नमेंट itself says that it is first of its kind because it has been prepared by an independent society, okay, Bharat Rural Livelihood Foundation, Bharat Rural Livelihood Foundation, okay, and it is an independent society. It is an independent society under Ministry of Rural Development, okay, under Ministry of Rural Development, ठीक है। इसके अंदर ये एक इंडिपेंडेंट सोसाइटी है जिसने ये दिया है, ओके। एंड दिस रिपोर्ट लुक्स एट द स्टेटस ऑफ द ट्राइबल पीपल एट पैन इंडिया लेवल। At pan India level, okay, and usually we always talk about the some specific things, okay, not complete development measures, not complete employment, but इसको क्या किया गया है, दो पार्ट्स में डिवाइड करके रिपोर्ट को दिया है, टू पार्ट्स ऑफ द रिपोर्ट्स। वन स्पेसिफिकली फोकसेस ऑन अबाउट व्हाट आर देयर लाइवलीहुड्स, ओके, वो अपना जीवन कैसे काट रहे हैं, एंड द सेकेंड वन इज ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट। इन दोनों के बारे में बहुत बार रिपोर्ट आई होगी ट्राइबल्स पे, बट इट एड्स वन मोर यूनिक थिंग, दैट इज गवर्नेंस, ओके, द एटीट्यूड, द थिंग दैट इज रीचिंग टू दीज ट्राइबल पीपल from the government, okay, where the right governance is available in the areas where they reside. So this is a unique report. Now this report says that in order to bring the tribal people into the main fold, there are certain things which are required, and the approach needs a paradigm shift, okay, approach towards tribals need a paradigm shift. Okay, this is what it recommends based on all the observations that it has made. ठीक है, अभी इसमें क्या है कि आपका all the things that the government is doing, they recommend that it should be agroecology based for the tribal people. ठीक है, एग्रो इकोलॉजी पे हमें ज्यादा फोकस करना चाहिए. ओके, द फार्मिंग मेथड्स that should be utilized by the tribal people because they are very close to the nature should be nature positive, which doesn't harm the nature. The focus has to be on nature positive farming. So the methods of farming which is in harmony with the nature, उसी को हम nature positive farming कहते हैं, बिना नुकसान पहुंचाए हुए जो आप कर सकते हैं. Sustainable water use. Okay, they suffer from water scarcity. ठीक है, ऑलमोस्ट सेंट्रल इंडिया वो क्या है, ड्राई जोन्स में आता है, ड्राई रीजन ऑफ इंडिया है. एंड 80% ऑफ द ट्राइबल पॉपुलेशन ऑफ द इंडिया इज रेसाइडिंग इन सेंट्रल इंडिया ओनली. ओके, सो दिस इज वन ऑफ द इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट्स. और ये भी क्या है, इट शुड नॉट कम फ्रॉम द top. The institutions which can achieve this thing are the local institutions. ठीक है, so it should be done by the local institutions instead of someone telling what needs to be done in a tribal area from a distant place. The local institution must discover what they exactly want. ठीक है, उनके अच्छे के लिए क्या करना चाहिए, इसमें ये है. Okay, and it has also presented progress report related to some of the important enactments. ठीक है, एक्ट्स जो इसके लिए बनाया गया था. फॉर एग्जाम्पल योर पंचायत एक्सटेंशन टू शेड्यूल्ड एरियाज, पेसा एक्ट जिसे आप कहते हैं. ओके, यू मस्ट हैव रेड दिस थिंग इन पॉलिटी एंड इकोनॉमी, पेसा एक्ट. ठीक है, तो पेसा एक्ट में प्रोग्रेस क्या हुई है, नहीं हुई है. प्लस द फॉरेस्ट राइट्स एक्ट, how this forest rights acts have been implemented. Okay, and all the findings of the report are still not in the public domain. It means that it will reappear again in the newspaper. ठीक है, because the news is there कि the report has been released, but all the information is not there in the public domain. So you'll have to wait for all the report. ठीक है, नाउ देयर इज वन एक्सरसाइज, ये छोटे न्यूज आइटम है 2 एंड देन विल बी डन. समन्वय 2022. ओके, दिस इज एन एक्सरसाइज रिलेटेड टू डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट. ठीक है, और ये आगरा में हुआ है एयरफोर्स बेस में. ठीक है, तो आप क्या है कि समझ सकते हैं कि एयरफोर्स ने ही करवाया हुआ है, आगरा एयरफोर्स स्टेशन में हुआ है. सो यू कैन फाइंड ए स्मॉल क्वेश्चन वेयर दे विल से कि क्या है ये एंड हु वर द रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स. सो ऑल द स्टेक होल्डर्स हु आर इन इंडिया, दे वर द स्टेक होल्डर्स, बट रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स फ्रॉम Asian countries also participated. Okay, so disaster management related preparedness check करने के लिए क्या है, एक एक्सरसाइज है ये. ठीक है, ह्यूमैनिटेरियन असिस्टेंस में आप क्या कर सकते हैं, मल्टी एजेंसी बेस्ड ह्यूमैनिटेरियन assistance. And lot of things that are required for disaster management. Okay, if the question, अगर कोई क्वेश्चन बनता है तो you'll find a question, a direct question जो यहां से आपका हो जाना चाहिए. Okay, now 2 एनिमल्स. ठीक है, छोटे छोटे जयपुर ग्राउंड गेको. ठीक है, लिजर्ड की एक वैरायटी है, रेप्टाइल है जयपुर ग्राउंड गेको. सो फाइंड इट्स photograph and see, but physical features पे कोई question नहीं आएगा. The only important thing is it is found in the Eastern Ghats, because most of the discoveries that happen, we see that the newer discoveries are related to Western Ghats. ये जो है ये Eastern Ghats में है. Okay, it is a wild reptile, basically lizard की एक variety है, lizard wild variety. Okay, and it is IUCN endangered. And again COP19, the government of India wanted it to be included in the appendix 2 of the sites. Okay, so COP19, government of India was asking it to be added into sites appendix 2. That was done. Okay, so पनामा में हो रहा है COP19, उसी से रिलेटेड न्यूज है जो अभी अभी भी हमने देखा था, एक और रिलेटेड. एंड फाइनली फूड एनिमल्स. ठीक है, फूड सेफ्टी एंड स्टैंडर्ड्स, FSSAI, फूड सेफ्टी एंड स्टैंडर्ड्स फसई. ओके, ये एक एनिमल फूड का टैग देती है. ये क्या होता है? हैव यू हर्ड ऑफ दिस? द टैग ऑफ एनिमल फूड. सुना है? हैव यू हर्ड ऑफ इट? क्या होता है ये? एनिमल फूड का टैग उसे मिलता है द एनिमल्स विच आर रेज्ड बाय द ह्यूमंस. Which are raised by the humans. To obtain food. ठीक है, so this tag is given to those animals. Himalayan yak has been declared animal food. हिमालयन याक को ये टैग दे दिया गया है. ओके, so you need to remember this thing. And there is a scientific panel of this. Okay, scientific panel constituted for this purpose. Okay, so you need to see Himalayan yak as well. So these are bovines. Okay, इन्हें हम क्या है कि अरुणाचल, सिक्किम, हिमाचल, लद्दाख में ये इजीली मिल जाते हैं. अरुणाचल, लद्दाख, हिमाचल, सिक्किम. Okay, and usually if you look at buffalo cow, okay, like they are used for their milk, cheese, butter and meat. ठीक है, सिमिलर यूजेज इसका भी है, इसीलिए इसे दे दिया गया है. ओके, एंड देयर मिल्क इज हाईली न्यूट्रिशियस एंड इट इज कंसिडर्ड दैट देयर मिल्क हैज मेडिसिनल वैल्यू. ठीक है, मिल्क हैज मेडिसिनल वैल्यू. बाकी चीजें तो बनती ही हैं, बट मिल्क हैज मेडिसिनल वैल्यू एज वेल. ओके, सो दीज आर इंपॉर्टेंट, इसलिए इसको डिक्लेयर किया गया है. एंड मोस्टली दे आर विद दोज पीपल हु प्रैक्टिस ट्रांसह्यूमन्स. ठीक है, ट्रांसह्यूमन्स मीन्स इन वन सीजन दे मूव टू अनदर एरिया, दे माइग्रेट. द पीपल हु माइग्रेट, द ट्राइबल्स लाइक द चांगपा, ब्रोकपा. ठीक है, ये ट्राइबल पीपल ऑफ द लद्दाख एंड मे बी अरुणाचल प्रदेश, सिक्किम, हिमाचल. They are the people who have most of its population. So I hope that अभी घी पनीर सब बनता है, दही भी बनती है. ठीक है, but you need to remember this. इसमें कौन who declares animal food category? It is the scientific panel. Okay, where it is found? Arunachal, Ladakh, Himachal, Sikkim. All the things, meat and other dairy products are there, but one advantage is there that its milk has medicinal value. Okay, so this is something that I wanted to discuss today, and you'll get the PDF with little more details. Okay, I discussed about the things which I feel are more important. ठीक है, तो प्रायोरिटी जो चीजें हैं वो मैंने बोर्ड पे डिस्कस किया, लॉट मोर, not lot more, a little more about these you'll find in the notes that I'll be sharing. Okay, so in case you have any other confusion, any other question, you can ask, else this is all that I wanted to discuss. Okay, so I hope that everybody is clear with the things. So go through these things, go through the write-up that I'll be providing, and most probably the very first news item and second news item that we discussed today, ठीक है, they are more important because the climate related phenomena is the favorite of UPSC. You'll see that if any unique phenomena is happening in the oceans, okay, usually UPSC picks it up. So I want you to make sure that you are going through those news items more particularly, वहाँ important लिख देंगे, गलती से भी ना छूटे. Okay, so I do not see any more questions, so I want everyone to make sure that revise these things well. Like I said, the first news items that I discussed today, they are very important, and you can find a question in your prelims as well as in mains, the first one, okay, related to the typhoons. So everyone stay healthy, have your meal, make sure that you revise the things before you sleep, and things are going to be easy for you. So everyone stay healthy. There are lot many news items, Proteus. If you go to your village, you'll also find some news items. Okay, but 1.5 hours, what you are supposed to do, you have to pick the news items which are more important. Okay, if you'll read Down to Earth News website, they add 20 articles every day. Everything is in news. Okay, if you'll go to Science Direct, they add 200 news items every day that is in news related to ecology and environment. Okay, so you have to put some limit on the things that you are craving for. Okay, try to remember the things that are humanly possible. Notes रख के क्या करेंगे अगर कुछ याद ही नहीं रहता है. Okay, so work on the priority areas. Plenty of magazines, plenty of news channels. If you'll ask me, I'll tell you 10 channels. Okay, 10 और news पेपर बता दूंगा जहां एनवायरनमेंट पे न्यूज आती है. ओके, लेकिन कलेक्ट करना है तो वो बहुत आसान है. कलेक्टिंग मटेरियल, यू डोंट नीड टू अटेंड द क्लासेस इवन इफ यू वांट दैट. यू हैव टू जीरो डाउन ऑन सर्टेन थिंग्स. ओके, एक दो न्यूज आइटम और इससे आगे पीछे हो सकता है. ठीक है, ऐसा खोजते रहेंगे तो प्लेंटी ऑफ देम आर देयर. फिर अगले साल ये कुछ भी काम का नहीं होगा अगर फेल हो गए तो. ज़्यादा बहुत एक्सट्रीम भागेंगे मटेरियल, न्यूज़ इन्फॉर्मेशन सिर्फ ज्योग्राफी नहीं है और सिर्फ करंट अफेयर्स भी नहीं है. ओके, देयर आर लॉट मोर थिंग्स दैट आर हैपनिंग अराउंड द वर्ल्ड. स्टिक टू द थिंग्स विच आर इंपॉर्टेंट फ्रॉम द पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ यूपीएससी, लुकिंग एट द पैटर्न्स. ओके, yeah, this you have to understand, this is also too much, but this is bare minimum that you'll have to do. You cannot escape this thing, but if you'll try to run behind the material, there is no end to it. ठीक है, this is for us. ठीक है, लेजर टाइम में न्यूज पढ़ो. तो मैं क्या है 20 न्यूज आइटम और पढ़ लूंगा, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. आपको बहुत ज्यादा पड़ जाएगा तो वो गलती नहीं करनी है आपको. ओके, सो एवरीवन स्टे हेल्दी एंड ब्लेस्ड. विल मीट अगेन on next Monday with the same session that is related to geography, ecology and environment. Okay, good night everyone.